Alright, y'all, so you're back on here in the episode of the Indigo Podcast, and today I'm talking about how you don't have to be special to win in life. So obviously some people are just genetic phenoms like Usain Bolt. I think you could throw Tyreek Hill in there, like LeBron, like they're just OP. Like, oh, the mic a little bit too close. Hold on now. Anyway, it's just they're OP and they have God-given talents that, they've used to get better in life. But I don't think that should be the only thing that deters you from getting anywhere in life, because people are like, oh, I don't have to. I hear this a lot, like in the bodybuilding. So like, oh, this dude has D1 genetics and my family genetically are like pretty average, so that means I won't be successful. No, not really. It's not really how it works. Obviously, if you have good genetics and you have a good family background in terms of their DNA or whatnot, you'll have a little speed boost, but that's not the end all be all of what your life will be. So I just think you don't really have to be special. Like, you don't have to have the speed of Usain Bolt and the strength of a strong man and the muscles of Chris Bumstead. Like, it doesn't have to be at that OD. Obviously, if you have talents, use them accordingly, but don't let that be the only thing that makes you and chooses where you end up in your life. But first thing I'm gonna cover is you don't have to be special. Just be consistent. I mean, if you know me, consistency is a big. I talk about it every single time, like pretty much on every pod episode, is because I literally see the power of it. Like, it's literally changed my life. Like, literally, it just takes consistent bricks over a period of time. I mean, that's not it, but that's literally, I'd say 90% of it. Like, it's just getting out the door and doing it over and over again. But anyway, I'm not about to blab on that. One quote I really like from this dude named Casey Kelly. I already mentioned him before. Cool dude. He was like, I'm not special. I'm just consistent. I related to that so much because I wouldn't consider, I have talents. I would say I'm a pretty talented guy, but I'm not the most talented guy in the world. Like, I'm not that special. Like, no one is that special, to be honest. It's just who's consistent and who really cares. That's what I really think is important, because you can be LeBron James and be inconsistent and put in no type of intentionality or effort, you will get nowhere. Like, that talent can only last for so long. It can only push you so much. And the consistency and intentionality and discipline and attention to detail have to take over the majority of your progress. So, like I said, talent is good, and I'm not saying you should not want, if you're talented, you should throw it out the window. If you can play the tuba, you should throw your tuba away. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, don't let your ego drive that as the only thing that makes you successful. And whenever things may go haywire, you're like, oh, I don't have that, or oh, I'm not as talented, so this isn't gonna go the way I want it to. I mean, it's good to be talented, but it's not the end all be all. Like, consistency is way more important, because when I first started running, I was pretty average. Like, I was like, because when I used to play football, I was like the fastest lineman. Yeah, I said lineman. That's very interesting if you see me now. But anyway, I used to be the fastest lineman. So, I just noticed I was a little bit faster. But then, in terms of running, I was all right. But just the consistency over a period of time and the intent and the attention to detail and just the kind of obsession over it. Like, it just the adaptation just shows, and then you get good at it and you get better. So I think anyone can get better at anything if they really put their mind to it. But talent can only take you so far. I think consistency is the overarching thing that will really determine where you end up in life, in my opinion. But second thing I kind of want to go over, paint your environment to the best of your ability, because I think, like, obviously there can be some toxic environments that you can't get out of, like maybe parents or maybe just where you live, and you can't really control that because of your financial situation. I understand that, but I'm talking about like people that kind of come and go, like people that are just kind of acquaintances, like just the content you watch and how you carry yourself. Like, you have the choice over that. Like, you have the choice over what you eat or what you don't eat. You have the choice of whether you train or not. You have the choice of whether what else you have the choice of. You have the choice of what shoes you wear. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a lot of free will for the most part. But if you're in a situation where, let's say, your family's not really the most kind people, your perspective can change, and you can be the change that changed the whole narrative of your family and the whole generation. Because I listened to this podcast a while ago. It was like this, I think it was like a four, the mileage of the walk doesn't matter. I was trying to describe it, but it was a walk. That's all you need to know. It was a walk. And Nick Bear, I've mentioned him before. He was saying how, there's a lot of kids and a lot of people, a lot of adults, just a lot of people in general who think, oh, just because my mom was this way or just because my grandma was this way, I have to be this way. Not really. Not at all. I think you're just like conforming to the norm, and I don't really agree with norms. Like, I mean, obviously there's some things that are normal, like you brush your teeth and you drink water. Like, I'm not saying you should drink acid. Like, no, don't go that extreme with it. But I'm saying, like, let's say they smoked or they're pretty sedentary, they didn't really do anything. You shouldn't follow that. I mean, that's the easy right. Well, no, that's the easy wrong. That's what I'm gonna say. You should choose the hard right and choose what you really want to do instead of, being kind of stagnant. So I just think you choosing the hard right can be the change for your family. Cause that's the way cause when I heard that, I'm like, that really connected with me. Cause I'm like, that's what I really want to do. Cause when I have kids, and I will have kids, I really want to have kids. Like when I have a little me, like I just want to give them all the information, and I want to be the example to, change the trajectory of my family. That's one of my main goals, but you can do the same too. Just cause your dad rolls papers and drinks beer all day doesn't mean you have to do that. You know what I mean? You can go do an ultra marathon. If you don't want to do ultra marathon, maybe you want to go paint, maybe you want to go skateboard, maybe you want to play football. Like, do something that you really want to do that's productive and that really build your character and really build resilience, put you through some adversity, and just learn more about yourself. But I just think a lot of people, their families are, they're just so accustomed to a certain standard, and I feel like a lot of people can raise that standard and, change the whole trajectory of their future family. I just think a lot of people just conform just because it's a blueprint. Like, people have already done it, so it's kind of proof. I mean, it might not be the best thing, but it works. It's worked for other people, so you see it and you're like, all right, I'm gonna just follow in their footsteps instead of making my own. And I think when you make your own, you mess up and you learn from it. And I don't even think it's a mistake. It's just a situation. Like, you just learn from it, and then you tell other people. Like, people might have a question, you have the perfect answer because you've already dealt with it, and you just learn more about yourself and learn if there's some things you're lacking in. Like, maybe you reacted a certain way. You're like, I don't really want to react like that because that's not who I'm trying to be or who I want to be. Or you learn where your strengths are and you build on them. So anyway, just try to paint your environment to the best of your ability and control what you can. But third thing I'm kind of going to go over is just get started with what you have. Like, you don't have to have the newest GPS watch. Like, you don't have to have a Garmin. You don't have to have the newest Nike Pegasus 41s. I think that's the most recent one that came out. You don't have to have the newest mic to record a song. I used to think that. I had a Blue Snowball at first, and it got the job done, but I thought I needed OD equipment. No, you don't. You can just get a mic off of Amazon for like $40 and get started. Get Audacity, get BandLab now. But anyway, people might think they need the newest camera to record a YouTube video. Like, it all starts, like, if you record a YouTube videos, you know where people start at? Their phone. Like, literally, pretty much everyone has a phone. May not be the best quality, may not be where you want it, but over time it'll progress while you progress. So I think people get, because when I was younger, like, let's say I didn't have, because the thing that got me was like music, because I didn't think I had the best equipment, and I think that kind of held me back when I was making music, because I'm like, I need the best preset and I need the best. No, you don't. Just put it out. Like, the main thing is just consistently putting something out, consistently putting out an effort. It doesn't have to be the very best. It just has to be done, and it has to be somewhat intentional. That's why I think. But I think a lot of people get discouraged because they're like, I don't really know where to start. I mean, obviously you don't go into stuff just completely oblivious and just throw yourself at the wall. But I'm saying you should have some idea, but you shouldn't do too much. You shouldn't think too much. Because I think when people think too much, they do less than they should. So I think you should just make do with what you have and then go from there. And I just think waiting to get started only stagnates it even more. Because I heard, I'm going to go back to Nick Bear, because Nick Bear is just pretty cool guy. I know, because it was in the morning. He posted on the Instagram. He got done with a run or whatever. And he was like, obviously like he like obviously kind of went over the fact that people, they may be young, well not well yeah younger, they may be younger or older, and they think, oh, since I'm too young or too old, it's too late. No, you should get started now. Like, make a little mini plan and just get started now. The thing is, if you wait even longer, you'll probably get less initiative to do it and even start the thing, you know? So I just think, make do what you have, because I feel like you can make do whatever you have, even if it's not the most shiny and most like glamorous thing ever. I think you can make some with it. And then obviously when you, let's say you make profit off of it, or you get some more connections, you can make it even better. And from what you learn through the process of being consistent and consistently posting or consistently recording or consistently drawing, whatever you consistently do, you build strengths and you build resilience throughout the process. And then when you get the greater equipment, you know what to do with it. So I would just say get started with what you have. I don't think people should wait. Just do it as soon as possible. So that's what I got to say about that. But it's kind of speaking about adaptation. Number 4 is adaptation. So once you adopt something new consistently, your body begins to adapt. Because I'm gonna go back to running, I think lifting is a better example. Because when you start to lift, I think you get the newbie gains. So you start lifting for, like, let's say a month or so, you start seeing a little bit more leanness and vascularity, and a little bit more muscle mass, like in your biceps or whatnot. And that's your body adapting to the stimulus you provided. I mean, there's a plethora of stimuluses, like you reading or studying or recording songs, and you'll get better at your rapping ability and wordplay. Just anything you do, you'll adapt to it if you're consistent. Like, that's the main thing. But I think adaptation obviously comes over time, but I think that's the beauty of it, because you get to endure the process, and you get to see where you started day 1 to like day 102. Like, it's just crazy to see, because sometimes, like, I think a lot of people, like, this applies to me a lot, and I think a few people can relate. Like, you kind of get stuck, like, in the process, because you're being consistent, but sometimes you don't really acknowledge what you've done. Because if I compare myself to right now, to me, like in sixth grade me would be like, wow. Like, I'm saying this because the thing is, I think this applies to anyone that's obviously people grow in life. So let's say I'm a senior right now, you're a senior, and let's say you lift. And I think this applies to a lot of lifter, because body dysmorphia exists. So they've built a decent amount of muscle, and they may not feel the most proud about it, even though they've built a significant amount of muscle and they're doing pretty good about themselves, for them, like, relatively for them. And I just think, if you think of, because I saw this one dude, gonna put his page up somewhere, his name's Sean. He's posting how if, like, little him saw him now, he'd be so proud. And I think a lot of people, when you get down and get discouraged and maybe you try and compare yourself to others, like, this is a little off topic, but I just want to address this, because I thought it was, like, really applicable to people. But just think of the little you, like you that maybe didn't have the most going for you, just kind of goofing around as just kind of a belligerent, just goofball. And just think of how they would look at you right now, and if they'd be proud or not. Like, I think you should just think about that. But anyway, back to adaptation. I just think it comes over time, obviously. And I think it's just the beauty of it, because you'll see you can put more weight on the bar. You can run faster mile splits. You can shade in colors better. You can rap a little bit faster. You can put words together better. It's just I think adaptation is just beautiful to me. Like, because whenever you may think you're not going anywhere, maybe because you're going to probably get in your head. Not even probably, you will get in your head sometimes, no matter how good you get at all, how big you think you are. I think there'll be days where your mind kind of just starts playing tricks on you a little bit. But just looking back at where you started and where you are now and where you're continuing to going, I think that really, like, just set in stone that you don't have to be special. Like, because you've seen the progress you made on day 1 to day 102, and you've seen how just being consistent, just adapting, allowing your body and mind to adapt, and just enduring a process. And you realize that I don't really have to be special. Like, I just have to be consistent. I have to be deliberate, intentional, and I just have to be about what I say I am. So that's my thoughts on that. I think adaptation, that's one of it's very very cool, very cool. But last thing I want to kind of talk about is not everyone will understand. Like some people, like let's say this is a perfect example because I can relate to this heavy. Let's say I thought of Chili's. I don't know why, but let's say like after a basketball game, everybody want to go to Chili's, and you brought like a meal prepped food, and then you go there and people are like, why did you bring that? Why didn't you just pay money for Chili's? And you're like, I don't really like Chili's. I just like cooking my own food. I can relate to this so much. But anyway, they're just like, why are you getting Chili's? Like they're kind of like judging you a little bit. They're like, bro, why don't you just pay for, like, why are you being weird? You know what I mean? But some people just don't understand why you're doing something, and I don't think everyone needs to understand it. I don't think you owe everyone a response. Like I don't think people like are objectively deserving of that all the time. Like sometimes you just gotta be like, this is what I'm doing. If you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. That's not my task. Because one thing I heard in, I believe it was the courage to be either the courage to be happy or the courage to be disliked, something like that. It talks about how it's not your task to make people think a certain way about you. It's not your task to make person A tell person B to like you. Like it's not. Like your task is to do what you need to do, hold your standard, and do what you want to do. Like it's pretty simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's not your task to tell Simon, oh, I'm doing this because I want to, stay on track with eating healthier and I'm trying to lose weight. You don't need to explain that to them if you don't want to. And I don't think you really have to, because it's not really, I'm gonna be kind of blunt about it. It's not really their business to know, like, all the time. Like people just, I think some people kind of get scared. So they like try and belittle you and make you think that you're crazy just because they're scared to do it themselves. So I ain't gonna lie. I just forgot what that part was about. Huh? I just kind of forgot what that part was about. Let me see. Oh, not everyone will understand. Yeah, that part. That part, literally. Anyway, but not everyone will understand. I just think people get scared, especially family members. Like they'll see you working out more and they think you're trying to I don't even know. They just think you're going insane, but in reality, you're just trying to better yourself and lean into the unknown and see what you're capable of. So I just think you need to be aware of if this person really trying to are they really concerned, or are they just trying to kind of throw me off, and are they really just scared themselves? Like I think you should just really think about that. And I just think just do what you truly want to do and hold your standard. Everyone's standard is different. Hold your standard and be accountable for you. I mean, obviously there's things you need to tend to for other people and your loved ones. I'm not saying, disregard people's opinions, because sometimes people be speaking real and you need to listen, because sometimes you're off course. But for the most part, a lot of people just don't understand what you're doing, and they don't need to understand what they're doing and what you're doing, not they're doing. They don't need to understand what you're doing, and they're honestly just kind of envious. They're just like, oh, he popping off, and I'm not really sure what's going on. But that was kind of the gist of the conversation. But obviously, I gotta end it with a saying I like. This is the saying I got right now. I had a few in my mind. I really know which one to pick, but I just picked one that sounded the best to me at the time. But freedom of unease is possible, and this is from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I believe that's how you say it. I may or not be wrong. But I just think a lot of people think, since, like I said earlier, their family is like they eat Swiss rolls and blow pops all day, that they have to do that. You do not have to do that. You don't have to conform to that at all. Just because someone says you have to do something this way doesn't mean you have to do it that way. I mean, sometimes things work and you learn from other people, but I just think people have the freedom to choose whether or not they want to better themselves or they want to change something or not. It's pretty much up to you. I mean, obviously there's some circumstances, like let's say you live with your parents and y'all don't stay in the best area, or like I said, your parents, their situation or your family situation isn't the best. I understand that, but I'm saying like you going out for a run, you eating better, you lifting weights, you starting to maybe journal more or listen to audiobooks or go for walks. That's on you. Like you have full accountability for that. And, that unease you're feeling, like, let's say you want to lose weight, that unease and that want to look better and feel better, it's possible. It's very possible. I think anyone can do it. It's just a choice of, can you choose the hard right or the easy wrong? I think that's the main choice. But that was podcast episode 38. Just kind of going over. I just really think you don't have to be special to be successful in life, no matter how that looks for you. If it's riding bikes, if it's being a swimmer, if it's being a spokesperson, if it's being an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be Benjamin Franklin or Einstein to be special. I mean, obviously, if you're smart and you're artistically gifted, use that, lean into that. But you have to have a base of consistency, intentionality, and you have to be very invested in what you're doing and really care about it and really care about yourself. But that's what I had to say about that, and hope that gives y'all some food for thought and really helps y'all out and helps y'all kind of think a little bit. But that's episode 38, and I'm gonna see y'all next time.